Hi, you guys. I'm Scotty Sando with the UltraRunning Magazine podcast. Today, we're joined by Ellie Pell, who's on the cover of this month's issue of UltraRunning Magazine. Ellie just scored a golden ticket to Western States from her blazing second place finish at Bandera 100K. Ellie joins us to talk about how the race unfolded, her origin story, which started at Kohl's department store. I'm not kidding. Her thoughts about running Western States. She's untested at the 100-mile distance, and mental performance coaching, a service she provides for free, and so much more. And stay tuned after the interview for our What's the Issue segment with UltraRunning Magazine editor Gangsta Amy Clark, with an inside look at our Ultra Training 101 issue, available on newsstands now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, kick back and maybe do that foam rolling you've been putting off for a long time. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Go get it. All right. And welcome the very talented Ellie Pell. Ellie Pell, welcome to the show. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great, Scotty. How are you?
I am awesome, but not as awesome as you. You are gracing the cover of UltraRunning Magazine this month. Congratulations.
Thank you. I see my lovely bloody knees behind you right now. Yeah, I'm looking strong there.
Really gross.
Yeah. Yuck.
What's that like to you're on a cover of a magazine? That must be so surreal.
It was, especially because I had no idea. And then I got a bunch of messages that were like, why didn't you tell us you were in for this magazine? This is a big deal. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I hadn't looked at the email yet. And I had no idea. And so then I just got all these messages and I was just like, is that real? First I thought I was just oh no, that must just be a picture for the website, because actually my friend Amelia has been inside your magazine, a photo from Black Canyon last year or something like that. And so I was like, oh, it must be something like that. But then no, I was on the cover and I was just oh wow, I don't know how to think about this. I was honored.
That's funny. Do you stand by the magazine, the newsstand, and say, so you're gonna buy this issue of UltraRunning Magazine? Do you think recognize anything?
No, I did go to Barnes and Noble and look for it though, because I had to see if I was in the store, but my Barnes and Noble does not carry UltraRunning Magazine yet. I requested it.
Good. I'll have to figure that out. But congratulations again. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
how do you guys choose?
You know what? We just Rochambeau for it. And, we don't. That's a great question. And that's a question for my editor. I don't know. I know that we work with a lot of photographers and we just, we try and pick what's going to look intriguing. And you, my friend, you're it. Yeah.
Yeah. They're is it a man? Is it a woman? What is it? They're coming.
I think it's who's got the bloodiest knees. And so you won. So you made it.
I did. The thing is I didn't even fall. That is the reason my knees are bloody, is because I ran through the cactuses, and that's blood that's dripping down my thighs, actually, from cactuses that hit me in the thighs. Yeah. So I did not fall. Okay.
Okay. Well, don't run through cactus. What the hell?
It was on the trail. I just go through.
I think
I'm not going to go around.
Mindset on different things that day.
Yeah. I was ready. I was thinking about my next snack stop, and I just, it's fine. Good. It's all going to hurt eventually.
Yes, it is. So, so before we get into Bandera and a bunch of other things, I really think this is a good opportunity to introduce people to the Gazelle, Ellie Pell. So I'd like to know more about you. And that's kind of going back to sort of every hero has an origin story. And so we're going to hear your origin story. So, how did you get into running? Have you always been into athletics?
So I was actually created in a lab. I was like a petri dish baby, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They shake and stir, and then they let you sit for a little while, and you grow, and then here I am.
Boom! There it is.
Here we go. No, so I actually grew up playing team sports. I played volleyball and basketball. I'm 5'9", so in a small school, that means you're the tallest person.
Yeah,
and
you're playing basketball. Come on.
Yeah, they beeline to me in the hallway. And I enjoyed it for the time that I did it. And but I played 1 year of collegiate volleyball, and I was actually the shortest. So you go from being the tallest to the shortest,
That's
big
strange.
fish, small pond,
Yeah.
small fish, big pond.
Are
And
you
it
an
was,
inside hitter or outside hitter?
so I was the outside hitter until my senior year of high school, and they changed me to the middle because I was even more tall. And then when I went to college, I was the defensive specialist. So I was in the back because I was short. So whatever. I mean,
Nice.
I learned how to play every position, and
Just
it was
curious.
fun. Yeah.
I played in college too, but I'm 5'5". And I was the tallest guy on the team. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't, but I was back row specialist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
So everybody gets to hit the ball at us, and we just
Exactly.
stand there and take it.
right in the face. Yep. every
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
I have a very hittable face, so it's easy. So anyway, so college, you kind of play at freshman year volleyball, and then
And then
what
I
happened
just,
next?
I sort of naturally stopped. I transferred schools, and I was just, my time with playing sports in an organized way was just, I was done, it was just an ending. And so,
Were you running at all? So any cross country?
no, no, I didn't do any of that. No, there was a track team in my high school, but really it was like, we didn't really, it was, I would really hesitate to say like we were a track team. Like we went to maybe like 1 or 2 meets. And and like I really just spent it like it was co-ed. So like I spent it like hanging out with my high school boyfriend, and we would like run to McDonald's and get a milkshake and then like run home. Where were you guys? Oh, we were doing that 5-mile run, but
Right.
like, no.
Your only running was to McDonald's. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. And so I ended up transferring a couple of times in college before I actually stopped after 3 years. Didn't really know what I was doing, so just decided not to take on any more debt while I figured it out. And that's kind of when I moved and settled in Ithaca, New York, and that's when I started hobby jogging. Really,
Yeah.
just normal person. Running is free, relatively. Got my shoes, buy one get one at Kohl's, and that's how I started.
Wow. Okay. So that's amazing. I love this. You have a great origin story, by the way. Just it's great.
I don't know. I think the Petri dish would be cool.
I think so, but it's kind of cool. Like starting with shoes from Kohl's, buy one get one. Seriously, that's really cool to see where you are now. I mean, it's such a transformation.
It's pretty cool. It's
yeah.
amazing to see what like a community and people that believe in you, and then yeah, it's pretty cool to see like this is just what our community does, right? Like
Right.
we benefit from each other.
Right. So just out of curiosity, because you have a background in playing competitive sports, at that time, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate yourself as a competitive person?
At that time, I with running, not at all. Like I think my first half marathon that I just tried to finish, I think I got like a 1:40, and I couldn't believe that I'd run 13 miles. Like it was a huge deal. And so I don't think I was really that competitive. It was about that time that I started listening to running podcasts. I found podcasts. It was like, 2011, 12. And I just was trying to learn more about running. So I Googled like running podcasts, and I came out with like Endurance Planet and then Rich Roll.
Yeah.
And both are fantastic. I still listen to Rich Roll, and then Endurance Planet, I really just started and I had no idea what they were talking about, like ever.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I started to understand, and I'm kind of a like science person. I like that. I like watching the natural evolution of change. So watching my body change, watching my mind change. And so I just I remember just like trying these random workouts that they would talk about on this podcast every once in a while, not knowing like what they were doing or whatever. And so I just started doing kind of more, I guess, challenging things. And over the past, couple years, and especially now as I move on in ultra running, like I really enjoy the process of working hard and doing challenging things. Not really I don't think of it as like a punishing way in my body, but more like I just want to see what it can do. And it's pretty awesome.
So what was the progression of that for you, going like, were you signing for 5Ks and building yourself up to the marathon distance before an ultra, or what was that like?
So I started with like the half marathon. I don't really know why, except that there was a half marathon happening. And actually, I really feel like that's kind of, a lot of people start with the half. Like, I don't know why. And so I started there, and then a couple of years, like I did that first one, and then like maybe 2 years later, I ran the same half marathon again, but I was actually following it like a training plan or some, I believe I was at that point. And I ended up actually winning that race, which was very unexpected. But now that I see, like I was sort of training for it, and I do like to compete. So I won that race. And even though it was like a very, small town race, like, I mean, it was, it's definitely not like pulling elite
like Boston,
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that gave me some confidence. And then that was actually supposed to be a build-up race to my first marathon. But I definitely left the marathon on that half marathon course. And I think I got injured like the next month. So I didn't get to run the marathon that year. But I came back the next year, won the half there again. And then I was able to run my first marathon a couple months later. And so, and then at that marathon, I ran, for my first one, I ran a 2:53. And that was when I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, I think this is kind of fun. And like, that was unexpected, but it wasn't like unheard of, I guess. Cause I knew that I was following a plan, and like, it was out of a book, but I kind of knew, like, I know how science works. I know how the body works. So, that was really fun. And so I just kept going, and once you get involved in like a mesh in the community, it's just, you don't want to leave.
No. So what was that? Your first 50K, you crushed it. You took first place, with a 4:07 time. Yeah.
I mean, all right, this 50K is like the best 50K for a beginner, I have to say.
Which one was it, and why is that?
It's called the Water Gap 50K. It's down in Milford, Pennsylvania. And it's just like rail trail flat, like maybe a couple rollers, but it was perfect for the kind of runner I was at that point, because at that point, I was also not as durable as I am now. So I think that one of the biggest things that I've worked on in the past couple of years is just becoming a more durable, strong athlete. Yeah. Whereas back then, I was still developing and still learning. So it was good for me because like there wasn't too much opportunity to fall. And I really could it's a runner's 50K. So and I won that. And so I guess I've talked to a couple of other female and males that early success in your career is a very good motivator to keep going. And so I enjoyed what I was doing, and taking home the W every once in a while was kind of nice too.
Yeah. And I mean, it just stacked on top of that. I mean, after that, you took a 15th place female at North Face 50 miler. And then JFK rolls around and you placed third there at a 50 miler and 27th overall. I mean, you're just like, what was that like for you to say, I'm really having some pretty amazing success at some higher level runs? This isn't your, rail trail event, North Face and JFK. Those are more premier East Coast events.
Yeah. I think I don't think too deeply about prestige. I think that at least now I don't. And since I've like steadily gotten better in the past couple of years, I more come at the sport like I know a lot of things, but that's just because like it's interesting and I'm a student of the sport, and also I can remember like people, like I can remember times or people who've done amazing things or whatever, but I try really hard not to tie my self-worth or anything to any of my results or any prestige to any certain race. So the North Face 50 mile championship, that was not like, I didn't know it was that actually. My mentor, Ian, it was his idea to he sent me out there it was my first 50 miler. I thought he was just being nice and it was like a 50 miler. And so I really it was a huge learning experience. It hurt so bad. But like finishing it, I was like, wow, I just ran 50 miles. Like that's incredible. And, yeah, it was just like his encouragement has been amazing this past like 6-7 years. And so that race, I can honestly say, like, I didn't really know the prestige of it. JFK was a little different because I did run it. I've run it twice. And the first time was, I had a very not super great day. I went into it injured, but it's a very expensive race. And so I wanted to go down there and try it. And I think actually at that point in my ultra running career was when I was like identifying as an ultra runner, and like I won't identify as anything anymore because like it's not good for my mental health, and mental health is related to physical health. And so trying to like identify myself in that way and trying to make it more prestigious than I think it should have been at that point for me. I didn't have a super great ultra running season. And at that point, like I actually I got injured at the end of the summer, and I ended up just sort of actually taking a break from ultras for a little bit and focusing more on the roads.
Wow. 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 Okay. So you, and we're getting to Bandera, I promise folks, just because there's something interesting that happened, because you're on just a tear of just performing very well, and great for you. You seem to be having your head on straight, and you're very kind of, mind, body, just kind of mindful, which is
Now, I'd have to say
okay.
earlier in my career, I was very, it's a lot of trial and error. Like I've made a lot of mistakes.
It's a progression. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I totally anything anybody is probably feeling about our sport, I definitely have probably felt before, even how embarrassing it is.
So what was the, like, going through COVID like for you? Just that must have been kind of tough.
Oh, you will love this. This is what I did during COVID. I was watching all of my friends do these amazing FKTs. I had no FOMO. I decided I was going to train to hit a sub 5-minute mile. And that's what I did during COVID.
Really? And did you do it?
No.
Damn it.
I know. Okay, here's the tragedy, but it's okay because I'm only 30. I'll train for it again. I'll get it. I could get it eventually, I'll do whatever. So we were all ready to do it. I had done like a 3/4, like what would that be? A 1,200 meter basically time trial the week before. Yeah. And I was peaking, and the person I was sort of working with to help me at that point, just because I had never done that in my life, he's like, next week we'll do the mile. You're ready. You're going to get it. And then, wouldn't you know, upstate New York winter decides to hit, and all the tracks are closed and the ice is on the roads pretty thick, and it didn't look like it was gonna thaw. And so, but I was like at the peak fitness where I'm like, I should not keep going another week. I need to take some time off. Yeah. So we just decided to take time off. And so I'll try again someday, but that was my COVID.
What about, could you've done like gone for a fastest time for yourself on ice spikes?
Oh, I should have, I'll try that next winter.
I'm kidding. So let's go to Bandera. So Bandera, congratulations. You pull second place, golden ticket, 9 hours, 49 minutes. Congratulations. What was your training load like going into Bandera?
Yeah, so my training into Bandera was unsexy. To say
unsexy
it
running.
Yes, it was a lot of back-to-back, either 2-hour or 20-mile runs on the weekends. The longest run that I did before that was actually like the October before that. And I did like a 6-hour fun, basically, essentially a fat ass run. It was like a 1-mile loop, and my friends and I just ran on it for a while. And then before that, I did a 50-miler on the road. And so those were like my 2 longest. That was back in October. And so basically in November and December, I really just wanted to make running 20 miles feel comfortable. And so that was kind of my overarching goal. And then I trained right now, I sort of train for ultras like I remember training for marathons. Just the speeds are adjusted. Like obviously I can't go that hard every week and train for an ultra, like because you kind of have to modulate your intensity if you're going for doing back-to-back long runs, and that long run has a workout in it. So yeah, I still maintain the structure of marathon training in my ultra training. And I just, I really just believed that it would work, or that at least I would learn something new that didn't work. And so that's really how I structured my Bandera training.
Okay. So on race day, what's your mindset when you're towing the line there with all these other golden tickets on the line? Did you set an intention that one of those golden tickets is mine, or just go out there to do the best I possibly can and just leave it out there?
I did not set that intention. I know Marianne did, the first place woman. And so that's pretty awesome. Like having that, like, I will get this ticket and then doing it. That's pretty cool. My, really, I stood on the start line. I was just really excited to see like where I stacked up against other women of elite caliber that are across the country. On the East Coast, like I love running over here, but I mean, I run against similar people a lot of the time, and I just hadn't run against these women, and I was really excited. So that was kind of my first thing, was just see where you fall. And then but for every race, I want to give the hardest effort that I can. And so I knew what effort that I wanted to run the race at. And so I really focused on the effort, and I wasn't going to really, the golden ticket obviously was like in the background, but that wasn't really until like the last 10-ish miles. I didn't really focus too much on that. And then I didn't really believe I had it until I was under the arches.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Before the race, something I was curious about, do you have any like race day routines or superstitions?
I don't really have any superstitions. I am very organized, but that's just more like, I don't want to forget something stupid. Like I try to set myself up to control the controllables, but I don't have, like I have a preferred pre-race breakfast, but I also am fine with, as long as it's like mostly carbohydrate based, and like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I usually wear this for the past 2 years. I've worn the same like sports bra for every race, but actually I learned that I packed that, so I will not be wearing it at my next race. But no, I really try to be as flexible as I can, because that's just kind of how life is. But I do have 3 of like similar mantras that I use, or no, 2 similar mantras. No, 3, Jesus, sorry. 3 similar mantras that I use for most races that seem to get me in the right zone. So
what are those?
Oh, sure. That would help. Well, when I stand up to the start line, and I actually also repeat this when I have to do something either uncomfortable or difficult in my regular life. And that can be, a run in the freezing rain. It can be having a difficult conversation with somebody that it needs to happen, is I just repeat to myself, I am Ellie Pell, and I will not be afraid. And that really does just like get me in the right zone. Like, it's just like, you do not need to be afraid of this. Like, this is not something to be afraid of. You can do this. And then during the race, especially earlier in the race, when it seems like people go out pretty hot, and I am not really holding myself back, but more like running my own race, and I need to really run my own race. I just keep saying, relax, relax, relax. And that helps me control my breathing and helps me stay in the effort that I've practiced, that I know that I want to remain in. And then the third one is more for later in the race, when it might be like just a section that's just kind of dull, or I'm a little bit tired, but things are fine, so I don't need to slow down or anything. And I repeat the good old, just keep swimming.
Nice. I love that movie.
It's so good.
It's so good. So it sounds like you're just calm for this race. Like, and that's a great place to be, where you're just kind of, all right, I know what's going on. I got my strategy in place, and here we go. At mile 10, it sounds like that's where the race kind of started for you, to chase down. You're in third place at that point, or mile?
10 miles to go is probably where I started like getting into like, all right, if you want this, you got to want this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's walk us through that.
Sure. So I was in third place at that point. Leah Yingling had passed me at about the 50K mark. And it was also at that point where I stopped to change my shoes and get a little bit more nutrition, where she just blew through a mile 50 or mile 31, whatever, aid station, and kept going. So then she put on a nice gap. And I think she had like at one point, like a 12-minute gap on me. I wasn't really thinking too much about it then, because I was kind of in a little bit of like just a low spot in the race, not because she passed me. It was just kind of what happened at that point.
Sure.
And then I also knew Sarah Beal, who's super speedy, was like behind me. So it was really, I wasn't really worried or anxious. I was just, it was more just like, keep running your own race. You know what you can do, and just keep doing it. And then when I got to the 10 miles to go, I was told that Leah had just left about a minute ahead of me. She wasn't looking very good, and she was asking how close you were. And so I was doing some ultra math in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was 12 minutes behind her and now I'm 1 minute behind her, all I have to do is stay at this pace,
Ultra
and I
math
will
is the
catch
best.
her and pass her. Yeah, it's great. Ultra math. And but also I think when I got there, I remember asking for a hug from my crew, well, sort of crew, Ann and Bill, who came with us. And they were like pumping me up, like they were trying to be really encouraging, but I also was just like, okay, I need to breathe. Like, I'm a little bit tired. And I had this thought, like, I practice my mental like strength and mental toughness. I prioritize that in my training, but I did have the thought like, well, Ellie, if you don't catch her, you don't got to race her. And how terrible is that? Like, I'm all like, yeah, believe, like, mental toughness, you can do this. And then, but I have those thoughts too. Like, hey, I don't see her, out of sight, out of mind,
Sure. Yeah.
But I did end up, I tried not to think about that. And I just was like, just keep going your same effort. Just keep going your same effort. And then I saw her and I caught her. And then when I passed her, I didn't ever look back, because I was like, you can't do that. Like,
did you say anything to her?
We both said good luck. And I said, let's go, good luck. But more in like the, come on, let's go, not like, let's go, Leah.
Right.
I'm too nice. Like, maybe I should like get some persona, but like, I'm just too nice. And so, but then at the last aid station, mile 4.5, I just like blew through it. And I was like, all right, Ellie, if you want, like, you can start thinking about it. If you want to go, you got to go. And so I also knew, like, because it's a 2-looped course, that section was pretty flowy. So I knew I could open up a little bit and not completely blow up. The only section I was a little bit worried about was with about a mile to go, there's like the only uphill that I had to walk the entire race. And also that was the point where Leah passed me on the first 50K go around. So I really just prioritized, like, I took a gel, like I took all my, and I was like prioritized just getting up that. I actually like blacked out a little bit at the top, but once I got up there, I was like, thank God I got up here. Yeah, it was like the craziest thing. What do you mean you blacked
out?
Like, I couldn't, like, for a couple steps, like my vision just like went, but then I just like down some more tailwind, and I knew it was like all downhill to the finish. And then I was like, all right, let loose, go, you got to go. And so, and then, all of a sudden I was through the arches, and I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Oh my God. So first, I would have peed myself if I would have like had blacked out my vision at the top. So kudos to you for saying, fuck it, tailwind to the rescue. Let's go.
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. But yeah, and there was like this wonderful woman who, like, as I was like stumbling up this hill as fast as I could, probably looking crazy, she is doing like a slower 50K, or I don't know what they were. They had another race going on at that point. Yeah. And she was like, you're doing great getting up this hill. And I'm somebody that thanks everybody, but I didn't even like, I barely even saw her. Like, I think I was just like, what? And so I tried to find her like later, but she was like so nice, but I couldn't even, like, I don't even know what she said. I just, so yeah, it was pretty wild, but pretty cool.
Holy moly. So what's that like? You cross the finish line and you're like, holy crap, I did it.
Yeah, I just remember like having that like almost sobbing moment. Like, I don't cry very much in real life. But at the end of races, I cry. And then I just remember like hugging my teammate, David, because he was like the only person there that I recognized. And I'm still like sort of just like, did that just really happen to me? And so I just remember hugging him, and then the race director like offering me the ticket and me just like having like blood and dirt and goo all over myself. And I was like, I don't know if I want to touch it. And oh, it was incredible. Like it was so fun.
That's great. I need a Band-Aid.
Yeah. It's like, do you have like a tissue or like,
that's wonderful.
it is Texas, so they were fine with it.
Right. Exactly. And a bone's not sticking out, whatever here.
Yeah.
You're fine.
It looks worse than it feels.
So do you have, looking back on it now, do you have any takeaways from the event?
Definitely keep running my own race. I think not getting ahead of myself, even though I might want to start racing early. Make sure that I start taking in nutrition immediately, even if I'm not hungry. I definitely am going to keep drinking electrolytes and fluid with calories in it. I normally, before this, I was kind of more of like a water, and then I ate a lot of goos. But for this one, I drank a lot of Tailwind and I ate goos additionally, and worked pretty well. And I, just don't give up.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you're dialing that in, especially that you've got on your race calendar. Gosh, what's coming up before states for you?
This weekend I'm doing Chuckanut, and then I have Gorges waterfalls.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, pretty quick turnaround, but then I have like 2 months. So yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
I want to do Chuckanut so bad.
I was like Chrissy Mail, huge fangirl. And so
yeah.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
I love her. I love her. I think I interviewed her a long time ago, and my takeaway from that interview was that when you're feeling like shit, just smile and smile your way through it, and your chemistry is going to change, and you're going to change your attitude.
Oh yeah, mood follows action. So like, and that action can be like smiling. It can be just changing one negative thought to a positive thought, but it definitely works.
Yeah,
it just takes practice.
It does. That's such good advice. So looking ahead to Western states, gulp, first 100.
I know it's going to be like double the time that I've ever ran in my life. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it depends. So like Virgil, the first 100K that I did actually did take me 13 hours. So I do have a little bit longer on my legs than 9 hours and 49 minutes, but it's still not a 100-miler. I'm really excited, and I hope that I like the distance. I'm also somebody that if I don't like going longer, I don't feel like I have to just to prove something. So when I did my first 100K at Virgil, I said, Ellie, you want to finish this, but if you don't like it, you don't have to do another one. Yeah. And I was really glad that I loved it. It was so much fun. Okay. And so looking forward to Western states, I mean, I can't really think of like a more fun first 100-miler, especially because I get to bring like people that are really amazing, and we get to all experience this together. And so I'm a really big community person, and I like people. And so honestly, the first thought that I had, like after we're driving home from Bandera or driving back to the Airbnb, and like I wasn't thinking about anything except for like, who do I get to share this with? Like, who should I ask to come with me? Like, this is crazy incredible. Like, who would enjoy this the most? Who'd be able to help? Like, and so that was the most fun, I think, that I had, like thinking after the race. So I'm really excited to just be a part of it. It'll be a blast.
That's a great attitude. I mean, one person could be thinking this golden ticket is amazing, and oh my God, it's just looming over me. Like, it's a huge commitment with the elevation and the heat. Oh my God, the heat. How do you perform in hot weather?
Better than cold weather. So okay. I got that. Well, I have about May and June in Ithaca is pretty warm. So I'll have a lot of opportunity to work on that. I don't really think I'll have access to like saunas and stuff, and I'm not going to try anything weird. But I'm an N=1. So as I design my training, I read everything that I can find. And I also feel really lucky that, if I have a question that I want to directly ask a coach, they have never not answered me, and in a very genuinely nice way. Like, of course, I'm not asking, can you design this month of training for me? Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to ask them something like that. But if it's something general, like, that I've always been very thankful and lucky that coaches have, or just people, or even great athletes. Like, I'll just ask people what their opinion on this would be. If I seem to train in the same way that they do, I'd be like, so what do you think about this? Like I said, I like talking to people. And so having this back and forth, I think it makes us both like better athletes. And so yeah, it's going to be a lot of, we just need to get out of the winter, because I'm still in winter here. And, it's going to be a lot of experimentation, but I just graduated with a degree in kinesiology. So I'm basically like, that certifies me to like, or basically I have a degree in this sports thing that we all like to do. So it's kind of fun to be able to translate my coursework into something that's actually practical for like my body. I don't think like a lot of other majors can do that.
Right. And congratulations, by the way. I was going to ask you about that. So have you found yourself being able to apply your studies in kinesiology into your performance as an athlete?
Yeah, especially my specialty is sports psychology. And so I'm actually planning to attend grad school at Ithaca College for a master's in exercise science with a concentration in mental performance.
Cool.
And so I really, and also that seems to be something that you can practice, like not only when you're running, but also while you're just, because we're always a lot of us are always thinking about running, right? And so that's something that you can also just practice, like when you're sitting on the couch, or like when you're, cooking, you can sort of deliberately think about different scenarios or different ways to overcome a challenge that you might be having. And I'm really into that. Like, I don't like gatekeeping. I think that a lot of things that I don't think that there needs to be like a secret that you have to pay $5,000 for. Like, I think that practical skills and things that you can just work on that might help just a little bit. I'm not saying that it's going to make you faster, but it might make you enjoy yourself out there a little bit more.
Sure. Can you give us a little taste of what that might look like for somebody?
Yeah. So I was talking to a woman actually yesterday, and we were talking about zooming in and then zooming out before a hard workout or a race. And so zooming in is kind of like analyzing like how your body is feeling, analyzing like how are you thinking about going into this run? And so she was saying that a lot of times before workouts, she's kind of like in the warm up, she's kind of thinking like, oh, I have to do this and try hard and like it's going to hurt or whatever. But just being able to like notice that you're feeling that way, or notice that negative thought, or not even a negative thought, because I don't really think thoughts are good or bad. They're just signals. Yeah. And so being able to like take that, oh, like this might be hard, to like, this is hard, but hard isn't bad. Hard doesn't mean pain. And it's not something to be avoided. It just is. And just being able to sort of take a second and think about that, instead of immediately like, just got to get through this workout. And that some days are like that. I get that. But other times, if you're able to sort of step back and be like, okay, yes, this is hard, but this is just here. And I can keep going, and I can finish at this workout or this race at the pace that I wanted, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that nugget. See, listeners, you come to this podcast and we deliver. Thank you for that, Ellie.
Yes.
So I guess sort of on that thread, talking about something we all deal with in endurance sports, it's doubts and wanting to give up, not feeling like I'm good enough, not feeling like I can't do this. What the hell am I doing? Why did I choose this sport, for crying out loud? Does doubt enter the realm of Gazelle? And if so, what is that?
Does but I've sat with the doubt for so long, and just sort of, and I continually do. Like for example, today I announced something on my social media that I have signed with a sponsor, and I've known for like over 3 weeks, and I just didn't know how to announce it, because it's something that is not it's just a very different feeling. And there's a lot of doubt that goes into that. Like, is this something that I should have done? Am I like, if I announce this and then I get injured, then it's like, oh, well, you're not a great runner, or things like that. And I really try to use the just thought switching. I think that's what they call it in sports psychology. It's like, you hear because I've sat with doubt for so long and just been uncomfortable in that headspace, that now when the doubt comes, I immediately like just switch it into something else. Like, even if it's there, it's like, okay, so maybe I don't do well at this race. Maybe I do get injured. Maybe people call me out for being like, I don't deserve this or something like that. And then what? And I just keep asking myself, and then what? And eventually I get to the end of the and then what's, and it's like, I'm still Ellie and I still like myself and I still have amazing relationships, and I'm still able, even if I'm sitting on the bench, I still can cheer for other people. And that's really meaningful to me. So I sort of talk myself out of the doubt, I guess. That's what I said.
Yeah. The going with the and then what is such a simple thing to ask yourself, with a great outcome. But I think it's something that we just forget to put into practice.
A lot of skills, especially in running, are very simple to do, but like not easy to either remember or get yourself in the mindset to do.
Yeah. I think you need to like play lottery or something, because it's like the Ellie star is shining so bright right now. It's like, I got a golden ticket. I'm on the cover of a magazine. I just finished my work at school. I got a degree and I got a sponsor. Like, damn. And
I know.
wow.
And it's like, but the thing is like, zooming out, like we talked about, like, it's like when you're in a slump, it's like, this too shall pass. So like, say I'm in a pretty nice place right now, but also I know that like, it's not always going to be like this, and that's okay. Right. Like, I don't think my like central nervous system would be all right with so much excitement all the time. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, and so I want to tell people, if you are like injured or maybe didn't have the greatest race result, or maybe your workout this morning was complete horseshit, like, this too shall pass. Like, it will get better and it will get worse again. And that's just the human condition.
Yeah, it is. Something that I wasn't expecting to ask you about. I'm hoping you're okay with it, but I think it's something that's it's central to your story, in that, you're 30 years old, you just got your degree. And I think that's a wonderful thing, that you're like, you know what? Probably the degree was not something I wanted to go for at this point in time in my life. And here you are, like, achieving something that you can put into practical use in your life and actually, get some success out of it, right? Like, to pursue what you love is something that I don't think grants a lot of us in life. But can you maybe give some words of advice to someone who, said, I had to put that off, or I'm putting it off right now, but not to like lose sight of that?
Sure. So I actually, I'm going to say something a little bit different than I think you might expect, is that be okay with not finishing. Like, I mean, I think it's been drilled into the American dream that you need to complete a 4-year college degree in order to be successful. I think that's changing. And and it took me a lot of mental work to like not feel like I'm a statistic, a college dropout that failed. But eventually I came around to it. It just took me a while of like stopping and like looking up and being like, actually, I'm happy and I like my life. And then and the reason I went back to school is, one, I had some sort of direction. So I didn't feel like I was just throwing money at the federal government, like with no direction. And then it was also COVID. So I could take all my first semester classes online remotely before I had to move. So that really benefited me. And then I just figured like, I'll finish and cool. Like, but I had to wait until that like want or the desire, and then the direction came to me. So it wasn't something that I really forced. And so I think that if you need a break from higher education or from maybe a certain career path or something like that, and you feel really strongly about it, then maybe listen to it for a little while and also release yourself from some sort of expectation that's been drilled into you. That's like complete societal manifestation.
Right. It's this invisible hand that we seem we have to fit into this box, and we don't have to do that anymore. And we're kind of like rewriting the rules of the institutional sort of expectations that we have.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm of the belief that I think education should be free. And so I'm also hoping that we're going to trend in that direction, because if you tell people that they have to go to college, make it like easy for us to go to college, you know, why wouldn't you want to educate your nation's people? That's going to make your nation better.
Yeah. And without sending us into like extreme amount of debt too, just
yeah.
Okay, well, that's my other podcast where we're gonna
I know, right? Topic, yeah, so. I mean, we're just gonna like put that into the universe and say hope it happens.
That's right. So getting back to running, I wanted to ask you, are there any ultras out there on the landscape where they just kind of, you think, yeah, nope, there's no way I can do that, or not that you can't, but you're like, I don't know about that.
Yes. Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great the people that do it. And there's a lot of things that I think it's great that people try. Yeah. It's just not something that lights my fire. So I have to say the sexiest one in the ultra community would be Barkley. I don't really have any interest in running the 100-meter hurdles. Oh wait, you said ultras. So anything that's like in the snow, I probably wouldn't do that well or have that much fun. And ultra running is still my hobby. It's still fun. And so I want to at least do things that light me up on the inside, because one thing that has been glaringly obvious is that if I feel like I'm at a race because I should be there, I'm not going to do well. It really, and for me, racing, I have a policy, it's hell yes or no. So it's got to be like, yes, this is awesome. Not like, meh, yeah. Like it's not as enjoyable or fun. And there are so many races that I can get jazzed up about a lot of different things. But if it's something where I feel like I should go, it's never going to be that great of a performance.
Yeah. And in my own personal experience, I find that bad things happen if your attitude's just kind of like, I guess,
I can't even do the fun holiday 5Ks, like, because I'm also competitive. So like, if it's a race and I'm like, I'm here to race. So like, I could be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this like elf jingle run. Then the gun goes off and I'm like, no, Santa, watch out, get the fuck out of my way. And like, it's not, so I just don't sign up for them because I know myself.
Kids are crying on the race course.
I know.
This woman pushed me down.
Get over it. And the thing is, I'm so smiley and nice, but like, especially in shorter races, I'm like, I'm here to do something.
Yeah, I'm here to throw down, folks. Come on, let's get real.
So I just don't sign up for those. And it's not because they're not great races. It's because like, I don't like the person that I become in the Elf Santa 5K.
That just shouldn't happen. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this, which is your performance at Olympic trials. So I was hoping you could share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was so much fun. In 2019, 18 to 19, I sort of switched from focusing on ultra distance stuff, and I really wanted to get my speed back, go to the road. I was a little bit burnout on ultras. Labeling myself as an ultra runner is a good way to go to burnout. So I just decided to do something a little different. And that's when I started training for the Buffalo Marathon, and then I won the Buffalo Marathon, and I won it in a 2:47. And then my two running partners who had already qualified for the Olympic trials, they're like, you're only 3 minutes away and we're training for this marathon. And we're going to try and hit the standard again. So why don't you train with us? So they talked me into it, but also I just like running with people. So I was like, yeah, this could be cool.
Wow.
And so we just,
friends. Yeah.
I know I do. I'm so lucky. That's another reason I love Ithaca. The running depth, outside of the college system is just so fun. Yeah. And so we all trained together that summer. It was the funnest I've ever had. It was so hard, but so fun. And then I qualified for the Olympic trials at the Hartford Marathon in Connecticut with the 2:41. Wow. And then we just decided to train again together for the Olympic trials. I didn't have as good a race there. The cycle training in the winter in upstate New York is kind of like not super fun, but going to the trials was amazing. Like I felt like royalty. Like there were just like famous. I imagine this is how Western States is going to go for me. Like I'm going to be like, wow, just like pointing to people. And the thing is also like, I was like the smallest fish ever in that pond. I mean, I was seeing famous people like Des Linden and like, Molly Seidel and these people. And so I really just lived it up because I had no pressure. There was like no expectation that I was going to make this. Like this was just the victory lap, but I also just love running hard. And so I trained for it and I wanted to run as hard as I could on that day, which I did, but there was no way that like, and so it was just one of the funnest weekends of my life. Like I just experienced that, like it was the first time ever that like I actually earned my way to this race. And so I felt like nobody, like I deserve to be here. There's like nobody can say that I don't. And that was just somehow like a big deal to me. I don't know.
That is so, I love seeing good things happen to good people, really. And you definitely have some great energy about you, I can tell. And everyone can hear it.
I know.
So other thing I want to talk to you about, is one more last thing. It's East Coast running. And I don't believe in East Coast versus West Coast sort of thing.
No.
It's definitely, it's us, not, we or separate. But so tell us about the East Coast scene and kind of where you hope it goes.
Yeah, so the East Coast scene is growing. We're growing in the media section, and that's kind of where I'm trying to play a part. And so really also another great thing about bringing this golden ticket was I felt like this was like for the East Coast, like all of us, like you all supported me. And I feel so much community. And if I can give back and I'm trying to do what I can to like further the East Coast, and not even the East Coast, just like the running community from where I live. And so I'm part of an organization called the Trails Collective, and we are an East Coast trail running resource. So it's not like East Coast versus West Coast. It's more like we're just trying to aggregate all the things that are going on in the East Coast to make it easily accessible for people that live here or people that visit here from other places, because I think that more people would if they knew about stuff. And that's kind of the vision that Ian, who is my mentor, but also the brainchild behind all of this stuff, that's his vision. And so unfortunately, it started a month before COVID. And so it was a little bit slow going in the first year, but we've really picked up steam in this past year. And then since I am done with my degree, I've sort of helped take the reins on some other things like bringing in columnists, putting out a regular podcast, just things like that, developing an elite team, just more things that the community can rally around. And it seems to be really meaningful for people. And I just love to see that. I love to connect people and bring people together. But I definitely we're really trying to stay away from like East Coast versus West Coast. It's more just like we're trying to build like using those models, like Jamil's model and like people over there, what they have built. Like we're using that information to just help do the same thing for the East Coast. I mean, how cool would it be to have this like network of media across America that anybody can figure out about any race, any distance, any terrain, and you can get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
So Ellie, you have a platform here. Tell us, why should people come and run the East Coast?
Well, if you haven't, you got to experience it. So where the West, our trails are a little bit different. So I'd say Bandera was more rocky and technical in that way. And then the West Coast obviously has like the really nice buffed out buttery track. They have some like elevation and things like that as well. The East Coast is like rooty and wet and a little bit more technical. So you know how like on a lot of trails, like most of the time when you're hiking, it's because it's a steep grade. Well, sometimes in the East Coast, you're hiking because it's so technical, you can't run. And that actually was a huge learning curve for me because I am a runner's runner. Like I want to run these races. I don't want to hike, but it's been really fun to like teach myself a new skill just because like the terrain is just, it's difficult, but it's still like there are beautiful patches to run. It's just some parts are, you need to be watching where you're going.
Yeah.
And it's something that I have learned through many falls. And so some beautiful races over here would be like Cayuga Trails 50. It's actually in my hometown. It goes through 2 beautiful parks. It's very hilly, but just so beautiful. Good weather. You're not going to be baking in the sun. There's cover. It's beautiful trails. Let's see, there's Virgil Crest also is over here. That was my first 100K, but it's on a ski mountain. So you have like a lot of elevation, but there are a lot of runnable sections. I mean, JFK is classic, but it's also like after you run it, you'll know like, okay, that I understand why it's a very like popular race, but also like, do I want to do that again? So I'd say everybody should do it, but like, you'll understand what we mean when you finish it. And then looking down the coast, there's like Hellgate is in Virginia or West Virginia, one of those two, and that's a gnarly race. Starts at 12 p.m. a.m. It starts at midnight, and it's a beautiful race that has a lot of like technical elevation, but there's still runnable sections. So it's just a different kind of terrain. And so I'd say if you want to try something new, if you're like just a little like if what you know is the West Coast or the Midwest, this is just a different kind of terrain, but it's still in America. And so it's just beautiful and scenic and tough. But then there are races like Water Gap, and there are races like like the Keys 100 or stuff like that is a lot more conducive to fast running. So yeah, I mean, you just got to pick one and try it.
Yeah, I think what you guys are doing is so important. And there is the exposure to the United States to introduce people to. I think that's a wonderful thing, but something that we don't talk about, and I think deserves a little more attention, it's the economic development that comes along with ultra running to these smaller communities, and what that means to people when we're coming in, flying in from out of town to come into restaurants and hotels to get gas and food and all those things that, these can really help a lot of people in a lot of places. And, we have the canyons coming up here this spring, and, it takes place at Forest Hill. We all know Forest Hill and just how that event in Western states and what they do for this community. And, it's now to the point where the community is really embracing that, and businesses are getting prepared for that event because they know it means a lot for their bottom line. And so I would love to see that sort of thing happen in different places around the country, especially for folks who really need the help. And we can run an amazing event at a beautiful place and get exposed to different scenery and people and communities at the same time. So anything I can do to help you guys in your endeavor, I'd be happy to do.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. And, I help with Red Newt Racing, which is a part of the Trails Collective and a part of the running store that I'm about to go work for. And we have so many repeat people because like, it's a family reunion.
Yeah.
It's, people, but also like, even if you don't know anybody, we're going to act like we know you and like, just come on in. Like, it's great. And people always return. And it's really like, it's wonderful to see. And I think that we're getting to the point where that's not just like, oh, this happens in this section on the East Coast, and then this happens in this section in the West, this happens in section. It's like, why can't we all just like, I'm going to go to, Illinois and just, I want to be enveloped in the community. And, I think we're getting there, and it's really exciting to see. I think we're all it's going to be like a grid. We're all going to be meshed soon.
That's so cool. And so how can people find out more about that, and where can they find you online?
Well, if they're not tired of listening to me talk already, I mean, I'm getting tired of listening to me talk. No, I'm kidding. I am at Gazelli with 2 Z's and 2 L's. So GAZZELLIE. It's a play on my name. And then the Trails Collective is thetrailscollective.com. And then we're at _trails_collective on Instagram. And so you can actually DM either of those. And I run both. I am the Trails Collective Instagram and I'm Gazelli Instagram too. So if you want to connect with me, also Twitter, I do respond to email, and yeah, definitely say hi. I love talking to people and it's great.
Great. Well, I'll be seeing you at States, and look out West Coast. The Beast Coast is on our way.
Oh yeah, we are.
Hey, thank you so much for your time, and good luck this weekend in Chuckanut. I can't wait to see what happens.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to the show, editor of UltraRunning Magazine, Amy Clark. How the heck are you?
Hey, Scotty, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I just had a great conversation with Ellie Pell, and you guys
Awesome.
made a wonderful selection of having her for the cover of this month's issue.
Awesome. That's great. She's awesome. And it was a great photo. No question there. It was very cool.
She wanted to know how you guys select the which picture makes the cover.
Yeah. So it all depends on what we receive for the month and kind of what pairs with the issue and what's inside the issue. Well, so it's a very, strategic process, but sometimes it's not. It just all depends on what we get.
Strategic as in, you guys put photos on a wall and just throw a dart?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very strategic.
Yep. Nope. Dartboard's right over there.
Awesome. So this is our training issue, the March issue. So, what's in the issue this month?
Yeah, so this is kind of, early spring where we tackle issues that aren't necessarily for racing or anything else. It's that time of year where everybody starts to train seriously for their races. So we wanted to bring a lot of training advice from all of our columnists, including coaches and, professional athletes and medical experts. And we also brought on some new columnists, including Liza Howard, she's got a Trail Safety 101 column that we're starting, and that will include information on, how to stay safe out there when you're, running on a trail.
Yeah,
and
her article is like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but how to prepare for injuries on the trail. And, she's got some stuff there I would even thought of that makes perfect sense.
Right. Yeah. You don't, we all go out there thinking we're going to be fine and we're just running, we're not going to have anything major, but, she reminds you that it's good to be prepared if something does actually happen.
Yeah. And we have some other exciting columnists coming on board.
Yeah. So if Anton Krupicka is also on staff. Yeah. Now we're excited to have him. And he's an excellent writer and really digs home to, his own training kind of.
Yeah. He is such a cool human being. I love that guy.
He's incredible. Yeah. And then we've got Jared Beasley, who's also new on staff, and his column is titled Detours of the Lost and Found. That's his column title. This issue particularly is about a guy who got a little mentally off when he was running the 6 multi-day race in Australia, like back in the 80s. Yeah. It's a pretty wild story. He almost didn't make it to the finish. So, yeah.
And on the training front, we have articles by Megan Canfield about Ultra Training 101, Claire Gallagher, like trail etiquette and why it matters, something we never talk about, but it's so true.
So true.
And then my favorite by Sarah Lavender Smith, training mistakes to avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've done that one and that. Well, I'm really good at doing that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are some of the features in this month's issue?
So we've got FKT of the Year, which was originally released online back in January with the whole countdown for them. But we actually put all of the winners and all of the details of their routes and all the comments that were made by voters and the athletes in the magazine. So it's a lot more detailed. And it's very cool because these routes are insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Wow. Okay. And then
Yeah.
I saw that the spring jacket review is in there, and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, the smart wool hoodie. If I bring home one more hoodie, I swear I'll be out on the street. But at least I'll be warm in my smart wool hoodie.
Exactly. They're important things to have. I can't tell you how many times I go grabbing for a jacket to go run in, and I'm like, man, either it's in the laundry or I can't find it. And it's just important because I walk outside and it's freezing even in the spring. So yeah, it's a great review.
Yeah.
A lot of selection.
John Trent's article, Finding a Path to Ultra Running in Life.
Yeah.
There's just some great writing there and experience to glean off of. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Such a good writer.
Father-son relationship. Very cool.
Yeah. What about some, the hallmark of the magazine, race reports?
Race reports.
What do you guys got?
Well, we've got Bandera, obviously, because that's where Ellie placed second and got her golden ticket. Bandera in Texas. We've got.
Oh, and let's talk about
I'm going to cheat. Beast of the East, which is a 100-miler in North Carolina, and then Frozen Gnome, which is a good one in Illinois. That's a 50K though, and then Mines of Spain, 100-miler, 100K. I think there's a few distances there, and that one's in Iowa. So,
if you haven't picked up the issue in a while, and if you do, you know this already. The photos that the magazine has are just phenomenal. Yeah. The head, like the story title for Bandera is "No Whiners, Wimps, or Wusses."
Yeah,
so true. That's by Andrea Larson. And then the Mines of Spain 100 is titled "We've Got Quesadillas."
Yeah,
and I just love just how much fun you guys are having with it, and the images in that are so cool. So
incredible.
Awesome.
No, we've got great photographers, and they definitely bring it when it comes to the race photography and all the images that they capture, all the scenarios, and it's insane. They go everywhere during a race. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you guys are really doing such a wonderful job with the issue. You there, everyone on the team, and all the columnists. So cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Scotty. I appreciate it, and thanks for all you do. This is awesome. We're on camera now. It's great.
Can you believe it? I'm so sorry, America and world. Just like, sorry, you got to see this thing in my face. Yeah. So I appreciate you being here to help, brighten the troll.
Oh, Scotty, whatever. No, this is going to be fun. I'm excited to do this version of the podcast. It'll be great.
Yeah. We're super excited, you guys, and thanks so much for being part of this. And we have lots more coming, including Western States. So
coming up,
hold on tight. So, keep up the training, keep the great work, and we're going to be here pushing out more great content for you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Scotty, so much for everything.
Got it. Thank you so much, Amy. We'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good.
All right. Cheers.
See ya.